The Brothers of Liberty, here to remind you what true freedom is. Hello and welcome to the Brothers of Liberty with the older brother Kelton here. Today, it seemed that for the past few weeks we've been talking about trial cases, Rittenhouse, Arbery, now the Maxwell trial. And today we're going to be talking about another case. It's not to trial date. In fact, there's no trial date has been set yet. But it's also happening in Kenosha, Wisconsin, as the Rittenhouse trial. Chrystul Kizer. Apparently, she was a 17-year-old girl back in 2018 who shot and killed Randall Valor III on June 5th of 2018. Um, Prosecutors say that she planned to kill Valor because she wanted to steal his BMW. However, the attorneys say it was self-defense after years of sexual abuse and trafficking. Kizer states that Valor was trying to pin her to the floor when she shot him in his home. She did set fire to his house and fled in his BMW. No trial date has been set right now because there is actually a statute in Wisconsin called the affirmative defense that allows acquittal charges for crimes committed by a person being trafficked. Um, a Kenosha County judge by the name of David Wilk ruled that she could not use it, but it was overturned by an appellate court and is currently being discussed in the Wisconsin Supreme Court as since September of 2021. She says she met Voller when she was 16, he was 33. She said that he groomed her with cash and gifts while sexually abusing her and selling her to other men. Now, a former prosecutor in Wisconsin stated that using an affirmative defense could set a dangerous precedent in other homicide cases. He states if someone commits a first-degree intentional homicide but shows some evidence they committed as a direct result of trafficking, that essentially gives people the license to kill their traffickers. And what's wrong about that? Sexual traffickers are disgusting, sick in the mind, and they get what they deserve. This is what he told at NBC News. Why would he say that unless he's not involved? And now, mind you, that's speculation and insinuation, but one can only wonder these things. Now, about 1.5 million people signed a petition on change.org to drop all charges against Ms. Kizer. There was also a Facebook petition as well, which the district attorney said he will not drop charges no matter how many petitions are signed. As Rittenhouse was a trial about seeing if people could defend themselves, this is a trial about if sex traffic victims can defend themselves to escape. Now, a lot of people don't know the particulars of this case, and therefore I've actually have a list of all the players, at least the main players that I want to talk about. Now, Chrystul Kizer is being charged with first-degree intentional homicide, a use of a dangerous weapon, arson, and 3 other charges. One of them, I'm assuming, is theft, since she did take the BMW to go back to Milwaukee, where she came from, where she lived at, because the person that she killed was in Kenosha. Now, she did have a run-in with the law before. Her brother did steal a car, and she was driving the car, and she got a charge for fleeing, for running from the cops after being told to stop. Um, and since then is in bail, and she got out on bail, and that's that in that case. Now, uh, Chrystul Kizer, let's talk a little bit about her. Kizer was 16 when she allegedly met Voller through an advertisement on Backpage, a website for sex marketing that no longer is in service. She said that she needed cash or money for school notebooks and food. Um, She stated Valor was the first person to contact her when she joined the site. She lived with him, and she stated he sexually abused her regularly and sometimes filmed the abuse for over a year. Stated she was being trafficked on the same page, and he took the money that she was paid by the other people. Now, strangely enough, her bail was set for $1 million before being lowered to $400,000, which she was in jail for 2 years from 2018 to 2020 and got out on bail the $400,000 bail. Now, prosecutors say the motive of killing Valor was theft for the BMW. Charging documents say Kizer admitted to taking an Uber from Milwaukee to Valor's home, which was later found out that Valor paid for the Uber, and shooting him because she got upset that she was tired of touching him. Touching her. That's what the charging documents say. Uh, Prosecution also alleged that she stole a laptop and cash from him. Now, in her interview, the first interview she did, she disputed the statement, saying that she killed Valor in self-defense as he was trying to pin her down and was attempting to sexually assault her. Now, the reason why I bring up the bell is let's talk about Randall Philip Valor III, who was a white male. Yes, Chrystul Kizer was a black female, underage female. So I'm sorry for using underage female, a child. Now, Valor was 33 when he met Kizer. But 3 months before she killed Valor, Valor was arrested on February 22nd in 2018. A 15-year-old girl, black girl, reported him to police for giving her drugs and threatening to kill her. When they arrested him, and he was charged with, and mind you, the black girl actually called February 12th. It took 10 days to arrest him. He was charged with child enticement, using a computer to facilitate a child sex crime, and second-degree sexual assault of a child. However, he was released the same day and records show he did not pay any bail. So a person who sexually assaulted a child and had all this evidence was let out of jail without paying a single dime or penny. Now, police discovered evidence that he was abusing about a dozen minor black girls, and reports where they looked as young as 12 years old. And now the girl that called the police on Valor says she was 14 years old when she met him. She told police he's done this to other girls and seen videos of it. Stated that he would go to Milwaukee sometimes to find young girls. She knew first names of 3 of them, including the name Chrystul. According to one veteran sex crime prosecutor in Wisconsin, his charges would typically lead to a substantial cash bail up to about $100,000 for wealthy people. And video evidence is a prosecutor's dream because it would be very difficult to defend. Files showed hundreds of child pornography videos featuring girls who appear to be as young as 12 and more than 20 home videos of Valor with underage black girls. Apparently, he all went after underage black girls. The file and case was not sent to the district attorney office until 3 months after he was arrested. March, April, May. It took 3 months to send it to the district attorney's office. It was 12 days later that they received the case that Valor was killed. However, Valor was never taken into custody and no sex crimes was entered into the Wisconsin court system. Now, a person who runs the legal clinic for human trafficking victims in Wisconsin says police and prosecutors who are unfamiliar with trafficking issues fail to recognize that under federal law, there's no such thing as a child prostitute. She later goes on to state that children, especially of color, are seen as willing participants in the sale of sex. Even the lead investigator, who described the 15-year-old who ran away from his house as prostituting herself out, not even calling her a minor who's a victim. On day of his death, police received a call from Valor's bank. The bank official states that from November 7, 2017 to May of 2018, Valor had almost $1.5 million in transfers, a pattern of activity that banks associated with human trafficking. Now, I tried to look up the other 2 players, the judge and the district attorney. The judge stated, the one that David Wilk, he stated that affirmative defense cannot be used. He was appointed by Governor Walker in 2014, according to a website, and his terms expired in 2021. He was actually voted in on 2015. Now, DA Michael Gravely, who was elected in 2016, he was in charge of the Kyle Rittenhouse and handed it to his assistant DA because he feared that they would not win. He also, in November, won the District Attorney of the Year in Wisconsin District Attorney's Conference. Despite petitions to drop the charges, as I mentioned before, he will not change his mind about this case. He's actually the lead prosecutor in this case. Now, he tried to make excuses for his office when they were given the case, saying that his office assigned a sex crime prosecutor to the case to determine the identities and age of the victims involved, even though they already had at least one victim. But I guess they don't consider a victim because the lead investigator says she was prostituting herself out. Now, on the best case scenario, and now mind you, I'm just insinuating and speculating and giving my opinions from this point on. The best case scenario, because of Chrystul Kizer past with the police run-in, he is trying to make a name for himself and say he's putting away criminals, and which is why he's charging her with first-degree murder and homicide. And that's the best case scenario because he wants to make politically big. He got elected, he ran for office, and he probably wants to keep his seat or run for maybe a higher office. Who knows? Worst case scenario, he may have known Randall Valor a little bit more than meets the eye. Because if this guy was sexually trafficking, and one thing I forgot to mention that about Valor is when the bank called, he still had about $800,000 in assets. So he's very popular, probably a very popular and rich guy in Kenosha since he had a lot of that money. The worst case scenario, like I said, the judge, the DA, and maybe some other officials may have knew Randall Valor in another way. And this is insinuating that they may, because of his death now, they may have to look for another person to fill their needs, if you get what I'm getting at. And, that's what we're waiting for the Maxwell trial to see all those lists of the big names. Maybe they were on a list. Because it's funny, I can't find any other charges. And for something, if they were actually going against him, one of the charges being destroying evidence. Come on. You put two to two together. If you hear a duck quacking, you're not going to call it a dog, are you? So, let your mind wander with your opinions about where I'm leading this to. I just find it very suspicious that it takes 3 months to get the case over and then they don't do nothing with it. And how suspicious it was that he got without paying a single penny for all that information, especially after what a sex crime prosecutor said how much a bail could go up for in those cases, especially with video evidence. Just wondering who he might have been in contact with when he was doing the sex trafficking. Maybe they should look up those bank statements and see where the money leads to. That's just my opinion and speculation. What is your opinion? Like, share, subscribe. Put in the comments of what you think. Like I said, you don't hear too much about this in the media, and I want people to share the hell out of this because I want people to realize that it's not just Maxwell that's doing it, and not just that CNN producer doing it, but it's on the local level as well. And when someone defends themselves, 9 times out of 10, especially a person of color, and I'm not trying to say this to insinuate anything, but statistics don't lie. So if you have any comments or topics you want me to discuss that you may be too afraid to discuss, we're not afraid because we are the Brothers of Liberty. And it's Brothers of Liberty 76@gmail.com. We will do our research, what we can find, and put it out here. And once again, I am the older brother of Liberty, always reminding you what true freedom is and ought to be.